Hello, beautiful. Welcome to day 4 of the Incoming Paper Challenge. Today, our focus was using our action file. Now, in order to help you use this action file even better, I would like to go over what each of these tabs are for and how best to use them. Then I'm going to talk about how to personalize some tabs, add extra tabs that you might possibly need, and then finally we'll wrap up with answering some of the questions that have come in so far. Are you ready for this? It's going to be fun. Now, if you are joining us late or if you missed any of the days of the Incoming Paper Challenge or any of the videos from before, please stop by the unit section of the Facebook group. The link is on the screen. That's where you can find anything that you may have possibly missed so far. This will be up throughout the weekend, so you will have plenty of time to get your action file up and ready and try it out. All right, let's dive in. So, as you know, this week we've been taking very small steps one at a time to build an action file. This action file holds all of our incoming papers. No matter what it is, each incoming paper has a place within your file. So let's go over the core folders within our file and how those work. And then we will talk about some of those specific folders that you may need to add for your particular situations. So the core folders that I usually like to start off with are to do, to enter, to read, to scan, and to file. These are the general ones. There may be one or two that you don't need in your life, but let's talk about how that works. When you have a new paper that comes into your life, if it's a piece of mail, if it's a note, if it's something you printed out, it does not matter. You figure out what your next action is for this paper. So, for example, if a bill comes in from the mail, most of us are not paying our bills in the same way that we used to. We're not writing a check. We're not manually paying the bills a lot of the time. So we usually don't need a to pay folder. Usually it can just go into do because it's something you actually have to do something with. You have a task that's associated with this paper besides just filing it. So a bill could easily go in the to-do folder. Now, papers can hop in between folders. Just because it starts off in one folder does not mean that that's where it has to stay. For example, that bill, once you've paid that bill, then you can think, well, what's my next action? Sometimes it might simply be to shred or to recycle the bill. Or if you do need to keep it, maybe you want to scan it, or maybe you need to file it. That bill can go from the to-do folder into whatever folder is appropriate for it next. If you were going to file it, then it can move from the to-do folder to the to-file folder. And the great thing about this system is there's only one core folder that you ever need to check on a regular basis, and that's your to-do folder. The rest of the folders, whenever you have time, whenever they get full, that's when you can deal with them. Most things will not catch on fire in any of the other folders besides to-do. So it makes it super simple. You're not having to check every single folder once a week. It's just the active folders. So our to-do folder in general is for anything that you actually have an action that you need to do. So that could be bills, it could be RSVPs that you need to return, maybe receipts if you need to return an item or you think that you need to return an item possibly, then a receipt could go in here. It could be bank statements. If you wanted to review your bank statement before you shred it, then that's a great thing to put in here. Or it could even just be some reminders to yourself. You can handwrite a note to tell yourself, hey, this is something I need to do, and I want to keep track of it. Handwrite it on your note, drop it in your file. So that's our to-do file. The next file in our core files is to enter. So the to enter file is anything where it's the information on the paper that's important, not the paper itself. For example, a business card, that would be a great item to put in your to enter file, because you need to simply enter the information in either your phone contacts or your address book. You just need to enter that information somewhere else. Another thing that could be on in your to enter file might be something with maybe a password. If you jotted down a password or a website address, throw that in your to enter, and then when you have a moment and you're going through your to enter file, it's right there for you to enter that information somewhere else. Recipes can go in here if you like to enter your recipes somewhere else. School reports can go in here if you're entering those somewhere else. Anything that you just need to enter the information and you don't need the paper itself. After to enter, there's to read. So to read, the only actions that you need for that paper that you know of is to read it. So this is a great spot for something like a magazine. If you have, maybe you want to read through your insurance policy before you file it, throw it into read. Whenever you're waiting at maybe the school pickup line or in a doctor's office waiting room, you can actually grab your to read folder and take it with you to the location. And then while you're sitting and waiting, read through some of the things in the folder. And when you come back, you can put things in the right folder based on what you read or dispose of them. But if the only action that you know of that you need to do is to read it, then it's perfect in the to read folder. Now, that insurance policy that you put in to read, it's possible once you've read through it, you might have a question. So it might need to hop over to the to-do folder to make a phone call about it. Or maybe you need to file it because you've read through it and you think it's great and everything looks good. It can hop over to the to-do file when you're finished. Things can hop throughout all of these folders. It's a very fluid system until they exit the system, which we'll talk about in a minute. So that is your to read folder. One of the things I like to do with magazines, keep the current issue in to read. When the new one comes in, the old one can go out. So you always have just the most current issue and they don't build up. Feel free to rip out specific articles from the magazine and put them right in your to read instead of saving the whole magazine if you want to. To scan, this is great for any paper that you have that you just want to scan, but you don't want to keep the original, or that you want to scan, but you still want to file the original. That's why with my action file, I do like to keep a stamp that marks it scanned. You can also handwrite the word scanned on it once you've scanned the paper. So that way you know when it hits your file cabinet, it's already been scanned. So if you need to purge it later, you know that you still have that scanned copy. But any paper you don't have anything that you need to do with it, you've already read through it, you've entered anything that needs to be entered, you've completed any actions, all you need to do is scan it, throw it in your to scan folder. And it's a similar thing for the to file. So your to file folder are any papers where you need the actual paper themselves and you want that paper to live in your file cabinet or your long-term files or your Spark Life binder. If you've completed all of the actions and even some things if you've scanned them already and you want to keep the original, then it can hop into to file. Now, as I mentioned, to get out of the action file, there are 3 ways out. The first way is the shredder. You finished all the actions that you need to do. You either scanned it, you finished the to-do actions, you don't need to keep the original. Maybe you need to shred it. So right into the shredder it goes. The other option is the recycle bin. If there's no sensitive information on it, right into the recycle bin. And then the third way is to file. So your to file folder becomes one of the only, well, actually the only folder where things exit directly out of into your filing systems or your Spark Life binder. So that's what your to file folder is for. Now, as I mentioned, we'll talk more tomorrow about maintaining your action file, but really in the core folders, like I said, the to-do folder is really the only one that you need to build a habit of checking on a regular basis. The to enter, the to read, to scan, to file, whenever it gets full or whenever you have time, that's when you can deal with those. You don't have to worry about them on a regular basis. And we will talk about setting up some maintenance plans and tricks and ways to make checking that to-do folder a lot easier for you as well. So those are your core folders. Now, I know if you're not scanning, then don't worry about doing this to scan. If you're not keeping any papers and you're going in pretty much entirely paperless, and maybe you only have 1 or 2 papers that you would ever keep, then get rid of the to file and just put anything that's to file in your to do. So make this your own. Just remember that each of these file folders is based on an action. So we are not labeling a folder based on what the paper is. We're labeling the folder on what the next action is, which makes it so much easier to process these papers afterwards. Because this is not a filing cabinet. This is the first stop that makes sure that all of the actions get taken care of. It weeds out everything that you don't need before it hits the filing cabinet, and it keeps things from ending up in piles. Now, that being said, I do know that there are definitely some circumstances that those main folders will not suit. Sometimes we need a couple of extra files in our lives, and you can probably think of a few that you might want in your own files, but these are some that I commonly come across that are great extra files. Just remember, as you're adding any extra files, don't do more than 10 files in your action file, because then your brain has to really engage and think about a decision, and you're much more likely to put it off. 10 or fewer, the fewer the better, and the more likely you are to be able to quickly file whatever you need. So one of the files that I have set up for people often is to follow up. If you have a number of things that you have done your part of the action, maybe you left a phone message, or if it's a medical bill that you're dealing with an insurance company with, then we all know those things don't get resolved on that first phone call, and you still need to follow up on things. Maybe it's a receipt that you mailed back or returned, and you need to make sure that it actually processed. Having a folder that's to follow up can be really helpful. This just means you've done your part of the action. You just need to then take that next step to make sure that things were completed. So that's one option if you have a lot of papers that you end up having to follow up on. To call is a good one. If you have a large number of phone calls that you tend to make, then to call can be a really good file folder. Or sometimes if you're the type who, when you're out and about, you like to make your phone calls while you're running your errands or walking the dog, and you want all those calls to be separated so you can quickly see which calls you need to be making, and they don't get mixed in with the to-dos, then those are some situations where having a folder for to call can be helpful. Another folder, if you do still manually pay a number of bills, or you like to double check your bank statements and any automatic payments and file confirmation numbers with them, then a to pay folder can be helpful. This is only if you have a larger number of things that are actually to pay. You may not need this if you've got auto pay, if you do online banking, but if you do want those separated, then this can be a good folder. One of the questions I get very often is, well, what about recipes or new coupons or the craft ideas or product ideas? That's a good one for to try. Especially things like recipes, having one that's called to try means when you put it in there, that gives it sort of a time limit. If it gets really full and you've not tried that item yet, if it's a recipe, once you try it, you'll know, do I want to file this or can this hit the recycle bin? If it's still in your to try file and your to try file's gotten pretty thick, then that's a great chance for you to weed things out, get yourself to actually try them. But this way they're separated, and whenever you're looking for some of those new recipes, then you know right where to look, and they can be tried and true before they hit your recipe book. And if you have other people in the household that need to get their mail separately and you don't want them part of the action file, or you just want to keep things as a separate grouping, or maybe you have kids that bring home papers from school, then a folder for a specific person is absolutely fine. So for example, to mom, if kids bring home school papers, especially report cards to sign or field trip slips or homework and all of those types of things, having a folder that's to mom, that just the action is to make sure that mom gets it. You could have it to dad, you could have it to Susanna, whatever you wanted, but this is a good folder to have if you want to be able to group specific bits of mail for somebody else. So those are a few of the special folders that I come across most often. A couple of others that I can think of off the top of my head, if you don't have a shredder near your action file, or you like to burn your papers that should be shredded and destroyed, then a to shred file folder is an option. That way they can all group together. You know that they need to be destroyed. You can also call it to burn or to destroy. And then whenever you are going near the shredder, grab a pile, or if you're having a burn night, you can grab them and burn them. And that way you can destroy those papers without needing necessarily to have the machine right nearby. So those are some of my favorite and most common extra file folders that I use within the action file. Now, really quickly, I wanted to go through a couple of the questions that I've had throughout the week that would apply to the action file. And also, I mentioned last night in the live that enrollment just opened for the Paper Path membership. Now, the Paper Path membership is a really fun group. It is basically a tiny step at a time path through all of the papers in your home and your life. So you go along this path and you have specific milestones that you see on the screen here. You'll go through incoming papers. Basically, we just did incoming papers this week. So all of your incoming papers, the action file, you saw how I broke it down into one tiny step at a time. That's what it's like in the paper path. So we talk about incoming papers. We go through how to sort papers. If you have piles of papers, boxes of papers to sort, old file cabinets full of papers to purge, then the quick sort is going to give you the motivation and break it down so it's super, super easy to sort those papers, and it'll help you make those decisions. It'll give you the questions to ask and give you common answers for a number of all of your most important documents and how long to keep them and where you should keep them. It talks about filing cabinets, exactly how to set up your filing cabinet, and gives you blueprints based on your personality type, how you can set up your filing cabinet, including exactly how to label the file folders and what order to put them in based on your personality type. There's a section for special papers, so those would be recipes, greeting cards, receipts, coupons, any of those special papers that have a different need for accessing them. And it talks about important papers, so everything that would go in a Spark Life binder or building your own life binder. And then finally, we wrap it up with how to finish it and maintain it. So that is the paper path. This enrollment just opened for the paper path. We had some founding members that helped us as we built the paper path, and they have done amazing work and had such great success within the paper path. So this is our first time opening up the paper path to the general public. We have it at a very, very low price for the moment, just until the end of the night Sunday. So the price will be going up at the end of the night Sunday. If you're interested, make sure to join right now while you still can before the price goes up. And then once you join, whatever price you join at is what price you stay at. So you can lock in that rate right now. Okay, let's get to some questions that I had that have come in since the last time that we spoke. Okay, so Diane asked, where do you put coupons and magazines within your action file, I'm guessing? So magazines, I love to put the magazines in to read. Sometimes I will actually just rip out the articles that I want from the magazine if it's not one that I will pass on to anybody else. And I'll just put the ripped out articles in the to read file. But sometimes I will put the whole magazine in there. And then when the new issue comes in, the old one goes out, or that's when I would rip out specific articles to save and then keep just those articles in the to read and just recycle the rest of the magazine. So the magazines don't build up and it does not become a huge thing that I need to try to get through a bunch of magazines. Then they just become guilt. So that's what I do with magazines. With coupons, you can put the coupons in something like To Do or To Try, depending on where you would look for them. So think about, okay, if I were to look for where somebody had put the coupons, which folder would I look in? And that is the right answer for you. But I know for me, I actually keep my coupons in an envelope in my car, in the glove box, and otherwise I will forget to bring them to the store with me. And if they're in the glove box, then at least when I get to the store, I know exactly where to grab them as I walk into the store and I forget and I go back to my car and go grab them. So when coupons come in for me, I put them right there with my purse, and I keep both grocery store coupons and any other store coupons there, so I only have one place for coupons. So I hope that answers your question. Cindy asked, How long will the challenge videos be available? So the incoming paper challenge is ending on Friday, but the videos and everything will stay in the unit section until at least Sunday night. Sunday night is when the paper path special pricing ends at midnight Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time. And also it is when the official end of the important papers challenge ends. So you will have the videos and everything in the unit section of the Facebook group through the end of the night Sunday. They won't necessarily come out of the unit section on Monday. It's just I can't promise when I'm going to get around to pulling them down, but after Sunday, at some point shortly after Sunday, they will come out of the unit section. Now, that being said, they're not going away. They're just coming out of the unit section. So you can still see them when you scroll down in the Facebook group. They're just not all nice and organized in one section. So I will not be deleting them from the group itself. You just might have to scroll down to see them. All right, I see. Let's see. Darlene had asked, does the Paper Path membership help with a Spark Life Binder? And that's a great question. I know it can get confusing sometimes, what helps with what section of your papers, and they work together. So the Paper Path membership are the small steps you can take to work through getting all of the papers in your life organized. That last step, the important papers step, is actually working with either building your own Spark Life Binder from scratch, or if you have a Spark Life Binder, filling in your Spark Life Binder. And I break that down step by step. We motivate you, we encourage you through all of that. So they work together and they're really, really good together. I highly recommend having both of them, but at least starting with the Paper Path. If you have to choose one or the other, I would start with the Paper Path, and then the Spark Life Binder will work really well with it. And one of the things that we do in the Paper Path, along with the membership, there's a Facebook group called the Paper Path Campfire Group. And this is a fun, encouraging group. It's a private group just for the Paper Path members. And within this group, we love to play games. We do challenges. We had a paper scavenger hunt. I have so much fun creating interactive ways to sort and organize your papers within this campfire group. We just recently finished the paper bingo, which was a wild success. We had so much fun, and it's a great way to get you motivated and encouraged and enjoying working with your papers, and it gets you into the sorting mood and into the organizing mood. So for example, with the paper bingo, each day I would call out whatever the paper type was from your bingo card, and then you would find that type of paper and you would then take care of it. You decide, is it shred? Is it recycle? Does it get organized into a file cabinet? What is the next step with that paper? So it actually gets your papers organized while you have some fun, and it gets you really motivated, and we all laugh a lot and enjoy it there. So that's a great question that she asked about how they work together and why you would even want the Paper Path. That's actually going to help you finish your Spark Life Binder even faster. All right. I had, when does the Paper Path membership start if I join today? The Paper Path membership is ongoing. So whenever you join, you can hop right into it and you can be on your own path, on your own timeline. But as soon as you join, it's already there. You don't have to wait for a start date at all. Let's see. I have, where should I put bank and credit card statements? Mary asked that one. And within your action file, there are a couple of different choices that you have as far as where to put your bank and credit card statements. From the core folders, you can either put them maybe into read if you just wanted to read through them before they get filed. You can put them into file or to scan if you need to just file them or just scan them and you don't have to do anything else with them. Or you could even put them in to do, so that way you can look through them before you make your decision about whether they're to file or to scan. It all depends on what your next action is, and it depends on what makes sense to you. So there's no right or wrong answer. But for me, if I had bank and credit card statements coming in, I would probably put them into do, So that way I could look them over, make sure that they were all accurate before I decided what my next step was with them. So great question from Mary there. All right, I have, if I sign up for the monthly membership, can I change to the semi-annual membership at the current rate later? Yes, absolutely you can. So right now we have the special pricing, and that special pricing is $12 a month only until the end of the day, Sunday. So 11:59 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, it's $12 a month. After that, it's going up to $14 a month. You could also do the semi-annual. So for 6 months, it's $60, and then it's just twice a year for $60. And then on Sunday, that goes up to $70. So if you are interested, in the description, there is a link, thesparkpaperpath.com/join. That is in the description of this video. And that's the way to click that and head over and join before the prices go up. Because once you sign up at that rate, then you will stay at that rate even if the prices go up. As long as you are an active member, you stay at whatever rate you sign up on, and the prices will continue to go up. So even if they went up to, $100 a month, then if you stayed an active member, and if you sign up now, then you will still be at $12 a month. So that's one of the nice perks about signing up early when it's first being released. So yes, let me see. The comment was, I just have to find it again. And then you asked, if I sign up, can I change the semi-annual membership at the current rate later? And the answer is yes, you can. If you are at the $12 a month and you've been an active member, you're still at the $12 a month, then shoot me an email if you ever want to change to the $60 a month deal, because I will absolutely honor that at any point, Lori. So that is a great question. All right, next I had the question, how often will we see you? And that's a really good one. And I don't have a specific answer for that. I know when things are up and running and I have a challenge going on, then I get to pop into the free group more often on live videos. But outside of the challenges, I don't get to pop into the free group on live very often. But in the paper path, I will be able to hop in there on live sessions a lot more often to answer questions and to be right by your side, encouraging you, giving you any resources that you need. So in the paper path, I do plan to be on there live on video a lot more often. But here in the free home challenges group, I'm afraid I can't be here as often live, but I am still in the group. I'm still reading all of the posts. I still comment on your posts and answer as many questions as I can. And you see my whole team is there too. You see Stephanie is there answering questions and posting and helping out too. So you are never, ever alone, no matter where you're at. I'm absolutely here with you. But yes, the Paper Path members do get to see me a lot more often on live video and get that one-on-one a little bit more, sadly. Okay, do you have to complete each section in the paper path before moving on to the next section? And there's another question, and can you go back after completing a section? So yes, with the paper path, as I mentioned, there is a path you are working on. You start off with your welcome area, you move on to incoming papers, which if you're doing this incoming papers challenge, you're almost done with, because that is setting up the action file. So you've almost got your second milestone done. Then you have your quick sort, where we're going through and we're sorting each thing, and the filing cabinets. You go down your path. Now, as you go down your path, you'll be marking your steps and your milestones as completed. But I'm not going to go to your house and make sure that you complete each one of these things. So even if you mark a step completed, that will release the next section of your path in your online library. You have this nice looking online library with each of the milestones and the broken down tiny steps, one step at a time. And that's how you can track things. That's how you can get all of your information whenever you want it. It's all in that online library. But as soon as you mark something complete, then it opens up the next section. I won't go to your house to see if you actually completed it all. You can mark it complete at whatever rate you want to, whenever you're ready to open up that next section. And then the other question was, can I go back after I've marked something complete? And absolutely, that's there. As long as you're a member, you have access to that. So you can go back and forth in that. You can go at your own pace. You can do your thing your way. There is no pressure in this membership. So I love those questions. Those are really good ones. Let's see. We have, where can we ask questions if we have any? If you have additional questions, then the Facebook group is a great place to ask questions. We can all help answer them if they're, appropriate for the full group. Feel free, ask them within the group. If you have specific questions that are more of a customer service type of a question or something that would not be appropriate in the group, feel free, email me and my team. Stephanie and I are always checking the emails, and I try to get back to you as fast as possible, or Stephanie does. You can email us at hello@sparkorganizing.com, and we are absolutely happy to help you out. So that is a great question. And I think we have one last question that came in. It was, is the Paper Path membership like the challenge, where we're all working on the same thing together? And no, it's not. It's like the challenge in the fact that you're taking these small steps towards building that section of a system. So we took really tiny steps. First, we gathered our supplies, then we put together our file, then we figured out where we were going to place our file, then we started to figure out how to use our file. We did all these tiny little steps one at a time. And that is similar to the paper path. But you do not have to do your path at the same pace or the same time as anybody else. You work at your own pace. You can go back and forth along the path as much as you want to. You have all sorts of resources to help you out. I have guides and worksheets and videos available and all of these different resources to help you every step of the way. But this is something where you are in charge of your own path. You can make your own choices and decisions. You can go at your own speed. If you want to stay on one step longer than another, that's absolutely okay. You do not have to be on the same step as everybody else. We're all in our own place. The only thing that we really do together is within that Facebook campfire group, we're doing fun games together and challenges and bingo and scavenger hunts, and we're encouraging each other and commenting, and I share resources, but you do not have to be on the same step of the path, and there's no timeline. So as long as you're a member, you have access. If you want to stay for a long time in the quick sort, that's absolutely okay. I have one wonderful person, actually several, who are in the quick sort and taking their time. And one of them is just enjoying the quick sort so much, and she's gotten so much out of it, and it is motivating her, and she's no longer overwhelmed with her papers, even though she was before, that she's just staying in that quick sort as long as it takes to sort through all of her papers before she even goes on to the filing cabinet. Now that I have other people who they learned how to do the quick sort, and they're sorting in small pieces as they're working on the filing cabinet. So it's completely up to you. You don't have to do everything at a specific pace. There's no deadline. There's no guilt. It is absolutely your own thing. And I'm just simply here to support you and make it as easy as possible. And as I mentioned, we do have a ton of resources within the paper path to make it extra easy for you, including I'm building a specific papers guide. So it's a reference area where you can look up the type of paper and see the suggested time period of how long to keep it, or some thoughts about how to make the decision for yourself, or specific things like credit cards. When you get a new credit card, how do you destroy the old one? Are you able to destroy it right away? Should you keep it longer? Those types of things. I'm building up that resource within the Paper Path membership that all the members will have access to, so it can be your go-to resource as well for all of the decisions and anything that you possibly need having to do with papers. So I hope that you will join me over in the Paper Path. It is so much fun. And as I mentioned, Sunday at the end of the day at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time is when the prices go up. So if you would like to join the paper path, now is absolutely your time, because you don't want to miss out on the lowest rate that it ever will be, because we do not do sales. We do not do discounts. It's always the price is what it is, and we don't go backwards. So this is the lowest it's ever going to be. So I hope that you join me in the paper path. But no matter what, whether you're joining me in the paper path or you're just doing the incoming papers challenge, I'm excited to have you here. Please, if you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments. I will try to get to all the questions that I possibly can and get those answered for you. I will also try to answer some on tomorrow's Facebook Live, the live stream on Facebook and YouTube. So Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time will be the final live for the challenge. So ask your questions. I'll try to answer them either in the comments or on the live. And I'm having so much fun having you in this challenge, and I hope that you are too. If you need anything at all, you know where to find me. Head over to the group right now and tell me, what special folders are you adding to your action file, or what ways are you using to personalize it? I always love to hear how you make it unique and make it your own. So let me know over in the group. And I hope that you have a wonderful day. Make today great, and I will see you very, very soon. I love you.